I would say overall, remain confident in yourself. I feel like a lot of people lose their confidence because other people don't have confidence in them. But I think it's very important to know who you are, to know what you bring to the table, and to just know how powerful you can be when you choose yourself, when you choose to be confident in yourself, when you choose to work for yourself, when you choose to get in the gym for you and not for other people's validation. To get in the gym and want to work on your game because you want to be better than yourself yesterday is different than getting in the gym because you want your coach to play you. When you're working to be better than yourself, your coach is automatically going to see that because you have a different type of swag about you. You have a different type of ambiance about you and how you walk around when you're doing things for you and trying to be the best you can be instead of trying to be the best player for a coach that you can be.
What's up, everybody? This is Off the Field, the podcast where we explore the championship mindset that fuels success in business. We are here to guide you on your athletic and financial journey to best prepare you to win on and off the field. I'm your host, Xavier Robinson. Today, we have an inspiring guest with us. Please welcome Joy Campbell, a stellar athlete and remarkable point guard. Joy, it's an absolute pleasure to have you on the show.
Thank you. It's great to be here.
Cool. So you have an impressive resume. 3 years at ODU, then you went to Xavier University of Louisiana, broke a record, and went on a 19-0 start. When you look back at your last season, what stands out to you most about your incredible journey?
Honestly, I think it was the team, the camaraderie. Everybody had definitely the same mind, same goal. We all just wanted to win, so that's what we went out and did.
So how did your time at ODU shape you to have so much success at your new school, Xavier?
ODU was a great program. They really did teach me how to be a collegiate point guard, how to read the floor, how to make the right plays, time and score, time and situation, when I needed to put my head down and try to make something happen, when we needed to run an offense, just overall how to lead it and how to get people to kind of follow direction. I think that definitely helped me here at Xavier because when I got here, Coach Bell gave me the keys and just told me to kind of make things work and make things happen.
So you played point guard. So that's really like I play quarterback. So you're
There you
running
go.
the whole office. You're running your show. Yeah. So do you always have that leadership role, even in high school and in middle school growing up, or how did it change over
Yes.
time?
So I've always been the smallest on the court. So they automatically labeled me as a point guard. Since I could dribble the ball, I was the point guard. My dad was a point guard, so he was looking for me to be a point guard. My mom was a point guard. She wanted me to be a point guard. So it just kind of ran down the line here. Yeah, so in high school, I definitely played PG. I was PG in my team. My first year at East Riverside, I was PG. And I was just always a point guard. So it was a no brainer.
So being a point guard, being the smallest on the court, it's different for me because I feel like I played quarterback. I was the biggest. So how did you have to adjust your game to have success and to make plays like you do, being the smallest on the court? Having that mindset, you have to have a dog mentality too.
Yes.
So how was your mentality and everything?
You definitely have to think 6 foot. So that's what I always tell coaches and stuff. I might be 5 foot something, but really like I'm 6 feet. Like when I get out there, I feel like I'm 6 foot on the court. I'm trying to get all the rebounds. But to be honest, you have to have like you said, a dog mentality. You have to be scrappy on defense. You have to be able to take some physicality because naturally people are gonna try to bump you off the ball, try to push you, try to get up in your shorts just because they think you're smaller. But it does have its perks because people don't really see you coming. So, when that post player brings that ball down, I'm just kind of able to get my way in there and take it. Nobody really thinks I'm going to go out there and rebound. So I have the opportunity to sneak some boards. But overall, you really do have to pride yourself on going hard on every play, hustling, because I don't have the size and the build to make my way if I'm not working hard.
So do you have a story or just experiences like, oh dang, I didn't know you was coming like this, like from your height? Did anybody ever tell you that or
That kind of happened more when I was younger. I used to play up. So I would play up like 2 grades when I was younger. Just because athletically, I was just fast. Everybody around my age. So when I started playing up, that was the kind of conversation. My dad used to take me to the gyms and the games and stuff. And they would be like, oh yeah, she's doing good for a 10-year-old. Oh no, she's 8. That kind of thing. And they're like, oh, like, I wasn't expecting that because, she's zooming past everybody. She's picking the ball up full court, that kind of thing. So that was just kind of the talk when I was younger. As I got older, it was just kind of expected. You got to go hard. You got to make those plays. It doesn't matter how tall you are, you're here. So you have to make it happen.
So just looking back at your career, right? You had both your parents that played basketball, played point guard. How did their experience shape you to even getting notoriety at ODU or just different growing up in the ranks, right? It's a lot of point guards, a lot of people you can get lost. So how did they teach you any experiences or just coaching tips or advice?
Yes. So the first thing that my parents really started teaching me was you're not always going to be able to get all the way to the basket. You're just not tall enough. And that was really like the first hard lesson. It was kind of like, Joy, you have to stop and take the jumper. You have to stop and take the little short shot because 9 times out of 10, we try to get in there, they're going to block your shot or they're going to just foul you and you're going to have to be shooting free throws. But you need a shot that's more consistent to the type of game that you have to play because of your height. I don't have the height to just kind of get over people and just finish the layup. I have to be a little bit more crafty and a little bit more, I have to think a little bit more when it comes to how I'm going to finish, how I'm going to execute plays and be able to make shots and knock them down for the team. So that's kind of where that mid range game came in. Nobody's really expecting you, if you're pushing full course, just stop and shoot the ball. They're expecting you to try to come all the way in. And at that point, they're thinking, okay, well, when she comes in, I'm going to block her shot. So I'm thinking, I'm not even going to come down there. I'm just going to shoot it over you. I don't even have to get down there and scrape with y'all. I'm not trying to be in there with the trees. So that's really the first thing that they taught me.
So like you transferred your last career playing. First of all, what was the emotions when you was transferring from ODU? Because I went to Hampton, so that was like right down the street from each other. So I know
Yeah.
that Virginia lifestyle. So what was your emotions transferring your last year and just what was your thought process on
It was very scary, but I mean, I had graduated from Old Dominion. So the thought process was just kind of like, okay, I want to play. Like, I want to finish. I had another year of eligibility. I'm like, okay, I want to play. I want an opportunity to really lead a team and to really, kind of be that voice, be that leader out there for one. And then for two, it was like, okay, well, you got your bachelor's degree. Do you want to get a master's? Do you want to go for that? So I threw myself in the transfer portal. I talked to my parents. I was kind of just like, if I get picked up, great. If I don't get picked up, great. Life goes on. I was planning to go to medical school and just keep the ball rolling. But Coach Bo ended up giving me a call. He ended up giving me a chance to come play for his program. So it was a great opportunity. And I think it's just opened up a lot of doors for me just being here in this environment.
So, what was the biggest adjustment you made from transferring schools? So, I transferred to my last year. Like you say, you just want to play. You just want somewhere you can go be yourself too, especially at that D1 level. They want you to play a certain way, a certain position, their way. If it's not their way, you not get no burn, no matter how talented you are. So, is that kind of like the same thing you was thinking when you wanted to leave?
Exactly. That's exactly what it was. But just being here, I think the biggest adjustment for me was all the new faces because I'm new. So it's different when you're at a
Mm.
program for so long and you see people coming in and coming in and going out and coming in, and you're kind of like that stable face that everybody knows you around the program and they're looking to you like, how are things here in the program? But I was the new face. I was coming in to girls who were looking at me like I'm just transferring in. So I think that was the biggest adjustment. It was really like having to take time to learn my teammates, learn what they like to do on the court, how they like to be talked to, how they like to be coached so that I can, as a leader, try to adjust myself and do things properly, not to step on any toes, not to hurt any feelings. And of course, sometimes feelings need to be hurt, right? But coming in to not be doing that off rip to a point where people aren't willing to receive the good that I was trying to bring.
So what are some things that you was doing just to build that team chemistry up? Was the team like were they already tight family? Nobody was really transferring in, or did y'all have a lot of transfers coming in that
We
had to
did have a good
rebuild the
amount
team
of
chemistry?
transfer. Not only did we have a good amount of transfer coming in when I came, but the year before they had a good amount of transfers coming in. So some of the girls was only there for 1 year, and then obviously we were coming in. Me, my two other grads with me, and then we had Jay Reed, another senior. And it was a lot. I could tell the team was kind of a little overwhelmed, but I just talked. I'm gonna talk to everybody. I'm gonna put a smile on my face. I'm gonna make sure everybody's doing okay. If you need anything, give me a call. I'm just always that type of person, and I think that was able to build some good rapport between my teammates because they could kind of see that I was genuine and that, if they did need something, okay, I could call Joy. She's going to make sure I'm straight. She's going to make sure I'm okay. And then just being able to communicate with them, okay, if we're, about to scrimmage, I'm asking, okay, what do you like to do? Okay, you like to shoot. Well, when I get in there, you make sure you're moving with me because I'm going to kick it out so you're going to knock your shot down. I was kind of looking for everybody else before I was really looking for myself, just so that everybody knows that I'm not the type of PG that's just going to take 50 million dribbles and then try to throw up some crazy shot like I'm a team player. I'm trying to get everybody else open too.
That's a vet move right there. Talking to getting them opening it up and just knowing their game and then adjusting to it. Yeah, no, for
Yeah.
sure. So can you describe your feelings throughout this year you just had? Y'all had a historic season starting off 19-0. So what was all the emotions, new team, new faces, new everything? What was going through that time?
It was a lot of emotions, a lot of happiness. It was exciting. I'm gonna be honest, it was exciting. I've never been on a team that started off so good. Play in high school, we were undefeated. We were just killing everybody in our conference. But collegiately, being able to do it collegiately, it's more fun to win than to lose, and winning brings people together more than losing does. For obvious reasons. So, it was definitely very exciting. Obviously, there was some very low points. We weren't able to. It was a really big deal. We got a lot of press. Everybody from the city was wanting to interview us and talk to us, and it was just shining a lot of light on the program. So it was very exciting. I think it also helped our team come together. It's more fun to win than to pull out that regular season championship and things like that. But in the end, we did make it to the Sweet 16, which made program history. So it was just a lot of love going on in the community, and that's a very exciting feeling to feel, especially being at the charge of it as well as some of my other teammates.
So any exciting memories or moments taken away from that time, having that 19-0 run?
It was that win after every game. I mean, we did 19 straight,
Mm.
so it was an exciting feeling just to look at the clock, see the game's about to end. Okay, we won another one. Now we're 10-0, now we're 11-0, now we're 12, and it's just like that number just keeps getting higher. We just keep getting more excited. Like, okay, like we're doing something special, and then to hear about it, okay, you guys are really doing something special. This is the best start that Xavier's had in program history. That's exciting. It definitely adds type of fun and enjoyment to the season.
Now you played on all levels, right? You played on the D1 level, you played on the NAIA level. Do you feel like there's dogs on every level? Do you feel like there's some hidden gems out there, like talent wise? Do you feel like these schools can compete with others?
Certain extent, yes. I also do think that there's a different
Mhm.
type of basketball. D1 is very intellectual. You have to be out there. You have to think before you do anything. And I think that that's a big part of D1. You see, like there's girls who are very athletic and very talented, but there's also high IQ. You want to make the right cuts and the right reads before you're just playing super hard and running, back and forth, just running. But I noticed that in this conference, although there is also an intellectual part, it is a lot more heart, just and a lot more hustle, just a willingness. Oh, I'm gonna go get the ball before you go get the ball. As much of a thought process of let me try to run this play to confuse the defense. It's really like we need to go as hard as we can so we outwork before it's like a mental thing. So that's one thing I did notice about being on different levels, is that D1 is definitely they're teaching you, they're trying your, basketball IQ. You're watching a lot of film. You're scouting, far and that type of thing. Here, it's like we're scouting, we're watching film, but it's a different level of it. We're really working on scrimmaging. We're doing a lot more defensive drills. We're doing a lot more things that just require and conditioning. Definitely conditioning.
So you say y'all scouting players games in advance, and how long in advance do y'all look at these players and look who you're going to go against? Because basketball is different than football. Basketball is just like a week to week basis. But basketball, y'all play a different team every single day.
Yeah.
So how long do y'all usually scout in advance for?
So if we're about to start the conference, like the season, then we're probably getting little nuggets of like, okay, we're running this play and this is what such and such likes to do. So we need to make sure they're in our conference, they're a powerhouse in our conference. So usually it's definitely like the teams that are like the highest in our conference, we're thinking about them. So even here, we're thinking about LSUS, we're thinking about LSUA. Those are the teams that really matter. Those are the teams that we're going to have to think about, really, hone in and focus in on it. We might not be able to just get by with our talent and athleticism. We're going to have to have a game plan. We're going to have to really work to what we're trying to do. At the D1 level, it's very routine. So if we play 3 games in a week, then the first half of the week we're scouting the first team, and immediately after that game we're scouting the next team, and immediately after that game we're scouting the next team, and it just
Mhm,
kind of repeats itself in a cycle. Now if there's teams in the beginning of the week
mhm.
that we know we're going to blow by, they're at the bottom of the conference, we're at the top, it's not really a game, we just need to go out there and execute, then we're scouting the last team. We're scouting whichever team is the most important for us to beat and is going to be the most
Mhm.
critical for the season.
sense. So, what's the most memorable collegiate game that you played in? Now, coming back, looking at your journey, it's like, man, did you ever think about like your most memorable game?
I have a few. I'm not gonna there was a game at ODU. I didn't play much at we were playing a team called Powerhouse. They really were that year and they had a great coach. They subbed 5 in, 5 out, platoon 7. They pressed the entire game.
Mm,
We were down by the
crazy.
entire game. We were down by like 30.
Okay.
And I came in the third quarter. I don't remember actually if it was the third or the fourth, but I didn't play much. So I came in, they were just looking for a spark, some energy. That's what I was at ODU. I was a spark plug. I come in, change the tempo, pick somebody up full court, get some turnovers, that type of thing. So I came in and I just remember the defense. It was just the defense. I got like my hand on a couple of balls. I jumped up, I tipped the ball, I got a steal. And we ended up losing the game by 12, but I was only in for a span of
Mm,
probably like 7 to 10 minutes to create what like all of that, and it just kind of affirmed to myself like, hey, like, yeah, I'm there. I would
mm,
say the Diller game, just because my mom was there, I had some family there, and it was obviously a big crowd. We played Diller this year, we beat them by 1 point. It was a fun game. I wasn't playing well in the first half, so it just kind of hyped me up when I started playing well in the second half. I was able to hit some shots, some timely shots, get some layups. And then the William McCary game, that was a huge game. That was, I think, one of the best games that I played in my collegiate
mm,
career. I mean, I was killing those girls. I was genuinely just killing those girls. And it was fun. We had a really good crowd out. I was really into it with the crowd. The game before, I was in foul trouble. So I came in with a lot of anger. I was mad, because
mm,
that was potentially could have been my last game in my collegiate career. And I was sitting on the bench in foul trouble. That game, I was really
mm.
just, I came out there trying to prove a point, and that took us to the Sweet 16.
That's crazy. That's all right. So somebody that's going through their college career and just going through college right now, that's not getting the playing time that they want or they think they deserve, what advice can you give them to do mentally and also physically through their time? Because it's a lot of highs and lows in college. Any advice that you would give?
I would say overall, remain confident in yourself. I feel like a lot of people lose their confidence because other people don't have confidence in them. But I think it's very important to know who you are, to know what you bring to the table, and to just know how powerful you can be when you choose yourself, when you choose to be confident in yourself, when you choose to work for yourself, when you choose to get in the gym for you and not for other people's validation. To get in the gym and want to work on your game because you want to be better than yourself yesterday is different than getting in the gym because you want your coach to play you. When you're working to be better than yourself, your coach is automatically going to see that because you have a different type of swag about you. You have a different type of ambiance about you and how you walk around when you're doing things for you and trying to be the best you can be instead of trying to be the best player for a coach that you can be. Because a lot of times the coach is looking for the confidence and they can't have confidence in you unless you have confidence in yourself. I would say physically, staying in shape. It's very hard to not play and then to have to try to get in and play and to not have no burn, to not have the adrenaline of running up and down the court. Games are different than practice, no matter what anybody wants to say. Games are different than practice. It's a different type
Mhm.
of work, it's a different type of running, it's a different type of stamina and cardio. So you have to remember that if you didn't play in the last game, that was basically an off day for you. And if you get another off day after the game, then you just had 2 off days and now you're expected to come and practice. Well, other people, they didn't have those 2 off days. They only had maybe one, but they're recovering because they were working in the last game. So really keeping your cardio up, staying in the gym. If you didn't play, you don't get an off day. Your off day was not playing. So the next day you need to be in the gym working out, getting better. That way when everybody else comes back, you're still clicking with everybody else on the same cylinder. And when you get in the game, you're clicking on the same cylinder as everybody else because you've been in the gym, you've been working out.
So that's $1 million worth of game right there. You just literally broke down the blueprint. So the next segment is brought to you by Off the Field Financial. It's a financial services agency that specializes in life insurance, annuities, and investments. We teach people like you how they can make more money using our special 4-step system without having to get another job. So these next questions are going to be tailored towards Off the Field Financial. Do you know what the rule of 72 is?
I do not.
All right, cool. So the rule of 72 is 72 divided by the interest rate, and that's how long it's going to take for the money to double. So a lot of banks give out, let's say, 2% interest rate. So 72 divided by 2, that's 36 years. So it's going to take your money 36 years for it to double. But we have insurance and investment policies that you can get your money doubling within 2 to 4 years. So we teach people how to truly invest their money and how to grow their money tax-free and protected from everything. Do you know the difference between term and whole life insurance?
I don't. And it's crazy because I took a whole insurance class. Don't remember any of it. Really.
That's crazy. So yeah, so term is basically just temporary. You basically gonna have it for 15 to 30 years initially. And they say if anything happens to you, we're gonna protect you with this amount of money. Let's say 500,000 or $1 million in coverage. Versus a whole life view is a coverage, same 500, $100,000 in coverage, but there is an investment account attached to it. So now you're investing your money, but you're also insured and protected at the same time. So that's the difference between term and whole. So do you have a retirement plan right now set up yet?
I don't have a retirement plan set up, but probably once I get settled in medical school and get like a stable income, as far as like I've been working this job for years, then I'll look to start doing that.
Come talk to me because that's what we do. We help people create retirement plans. We show them retirement is not an age, it's really on how you set your money up. I've seen people that retire in 10 years. I see 30-year-olds that retired. I see 40-year-olds that retired. So it's really about how you set your money up.
Mhm.
That's what we help people do.
Okay.
So going back to the interview, what was your toughest college game you played and why?
Toughest as in most difficult?
Yeah, most difficult. It's like, dang, these girls some dogs. Is it the Marshall game or
LSU. We played
LSU?
LSU in an exhibition game at the beginning of the season. That was hard.
Mm.
I'm not gonna lie. That
Yeah.
was hard. And I didn't think I played a bad game, but it's LSU. Like, what
Mhm.
can you really say besides it's
So
LSU? We don't have all the superstars that they have on their team. They got girls going into the NBA draft on their team. It was difficult. A specific play. I was feeling good. I got Flage to lose the ball. She done kicked it off her foot. I'm like, oh yeah, like I'm here. And then Coach Kim, she got on her a little bit. And next thing I know, I'm getting backed up, spin, turn around, fade away. I'm like, oh God. Okay,
right.
kind of
So
put me
Florida
on my feet a
really
little
like
bit.
that.
Yeah. She didn't have to do it like that, but she did. But she's supposed to, right?
Mhm,
But that was definitely one of the
mhm,
hardest games. We used by a considerable amount, and it was very difficult just because they're a powerhouse. They're LSU, and they were supposed to come in there and beat us like that. But that was
mhm.
definitely the hardest game I played in my career.
So Fly J and the LSU girls, they like that. They be going out
Yes,
there crazy. Cool.
yeah, those girls are super athletic.
So did you think the UConn was going to beat USC like that? South Carolina like that?
Yes, I did. I
You
did.
did. So UConn really, they really do.
They are,
They
but
really
also
do.
South Carolina, they weren't playing good in the tournament to begin with. The games that they won,
Mm,
they had really slow starts. They weren't scoring as much as they should have. The teams that they should have beat probably by like 30, they were only beaten by maybe 15. So, and then looking at UConn was leveling the entire tournament. It's like they were just getting better and better and better as the tournament went on. They really peaked in the national tournament. Like, and that's what you're supposed to do. You're supposed to be at
mhm,
your best in the tournament. And that's what UConn was doing. I knew South Carolina, they weren't going to be able to hang. They have some amazing players, obviously, but it was just UConn's time. And you could tell with the girls that UConn has, Paige, Azzy, Sarah, they were not messing around. They went hard every
mm,
single possession, every single fourth quarter. And when the subs got in, they went
mm,
hard. Like it was just, they never let up. South Carolina, I think they had a lot of lulls. They had some really bad possessions as well. But UConn was able to capitalize on their possessions, limit their turnovers, and just really make great basketball plays. And that really helped them. They also had great
mm.
energy on the bench, on the court. They're dabbing each other up. They make a mistake, they're huddling up, they're talking to each other, they're breaking and making sure that everything's good. And I think that too, UConn did not come to play. I knew that UConn was going to win that game.
So how big is that on coaching? Because you got Don Stanley, of course she's good at coaching, but like how big is the coaching when you looked at the game? Was like because that's like a culture thing, as you was saying, like they huddling, they own it just a bit more than South Carolina was on.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, Coach Don, she did her job. She did her job to her ability. But I think it did come down to she knew her team. And I don't know if maybe it was just the spotlight, whatever was going on that day. But she knew her team. You could see her on the bench. She was very frustrated. She doesn't usually show that much emotion in the games that I've seen. But I think at the end of the day, she did know her team and she knew, okay, this is not our game today. For a lot of the game, she was just sitting down, kind of shaking her head, getting frustrated, trying to coach the girls, but it seemed like they weren't really receiving it the best they could. And then he was up the whole game. I mean, obviously they're winning, so he's into it. But he was up the whole game. But I think really, like, at the end of the day, she knew her team and she knew that it just wasn't their day, that they weren't going to be able to get it done.
How was your experience with the NAIA Women's Basketball National Championship Tournament? Because I know y'all was going on at the same time. Like, Were they treating you all right? How was that experience?
Great experience. I wish we would have obviously made it a little bit farther, but just in general, like it was very exciting. Play the games, see what's going on, play against the top teams of the NAIA and the nation and stuff like that. It was a really good experience, something I want to trade for the world. I think we could have won the game that we did play, but we didn't. So, but regardless, I think that it was just a great experience, especially for the girls who are younger than me, for the coaching staff, just to see that okay, we can make it here. You know, we got here this year, we can make it there next year. I think it was just a kind of encouraging because when you can't complete something, get to the Sweet 16 for so long, you start to think it might be impossible. But we made it, so it's definitely possible. And I think the next team that comes through here will be able to get farther than us.
So Luca to the Lakers trade. That's Luca's. He's stamping. He's like, yeah, to trade me. You feel me? So like, what do you think Mavs is doing right now? You think they're kicking themselves in the butt? Do you think maybe it's next year gonna be rebuilding? Think they're like, dang, we just messed up.
I think they definitely are kicking themselves in the butt. Luca went to the Lakers and he's been hooping. I think he feels appreciated there too. He feels like he is a superstar. He was a superstar on the Mavs, but I feel like the Mavs didn't really appreciate him and his game and everything that comes with Luca. Luca is an amazing player, literally. And I think the Mavs are definitely going downhill right now. When they had Luca, they were kind of had a little bit more talk around them. You know, they had Luca and Clay and Kyrie. So it's just like, you know, they're talking to town really. But I think since they lost Luca, they've definitely gone downhill. They got AD, but AD's always hurt. It's always something with, you know, him. So I feel like they didn't really take that into consideration. But I think that Luca coming to the Lakers just kind of like opened the whole team up because you got Austin Reeves on the wing. Come on, it's LeBron. They have so many scoring pieces over there, and then you just drop Luca in the middle of it, and it's like he could pass the ball off, he gets the basket, he has a high IQ, so he can make good reads, and it's just a powerhouse now. It really is a powerhouse.
Right, yeah.
They have the capacity to really do some dangerous stuff in the playoffs.
You think Lakers in 5? Lakers in 6?
I'm not a Lakers
You
fan.
think
I'm a
gonna make it
Warriors
that far?
fan.
Yeah.
So I'm not gonna
Okay.
speak too much on any Lakers winning. I'm going
Okay.
Warriors all the way. But
Warriors
yeah,
out
they,
the way.
they definitely have
Warriors in 6.
high capabilities.
So LeBron, you just mentioned LeBron. LeBron and Stephen A. Smith beat. How much you think of it is real? And how much you think of it is just they just trying to get there right now? Of course, LeBron don't need publicity, but Stephen A. Smith, he over here, he talking a little crazy.
Yeah, I think it's real. Honestly, I think LeBron is tired. I think LeBron is very tired of people just talking about him. And now, obviously, he's brought Bronny into the situation. And I think as a grown man, it's right. Don't let nobody talk about your children. So I think it's real. I think LeBron does not like him. I think Stephen A. Smith has said a lot of stuff about everybody, obviously, in the league, but LeBron specifically, he definitely always has something to say about LeBron. So he's just kind of getting a little pushback now, and I think he's reacting off of it, and he probably is taking it for some publicity because you know he's got his own show and all that kind of stuff now. But I think LeBron literally is just spitting it to him straight, like you need to stop talking, you know, so much trash about me and definitely about my kid.
And it's crazy because I was looking, it's like they talking about some LeBron. He was saying LeBron a bully. He was saying LeBron do this, LeBron do that. And it's like, bro, LeBron really don't speak out when people speak on him. You feel me? Last time he did that, they told him to shut up and dribble. So it's like now when he really put his foot down, he's stamping on something. Now he trying to pay him the back. I don't like what Stephen A. doing right.
Yeah, LeBron's not a bad guy. I mean, come on, he's been the face of the league for how long? Like you can't just be the face of the league and be a bad person. They're not gonna allow that to happen because that's gonna mess with their money and their ratings if you're out here, you know, being rude and doing all types of negative stuff. So you can't sit here and tell me LeBron is a bad person. I don't believe I wouldn't believe it.
So now we get into the hot seat questions of the interview. You ready for this?
Ooh, okay, yeah, I'm ready.
Top 5 point guards all time. Your top 5 list.
Are we talking about what? Collegiate, like men's, women's?
All right, just for you. Let's go men's, and then let's go collegiate women's basketball.
Lord, I probably know the men's more than the collegiate. Cause I mean I've been playing collegiate basketball, so I don't know if I watch enough. I started watching it more than I stopped.
No,
But for men's, okay, you know I gotta put my men's at the top. Steph Curry, he's definitely Kyrie. I love Kyrie's game. CP3, I mirror a lot of my game off with Kyrie and CP3 for real. I don't know if I have a top 5 now. I might just have a top 3 really, cause can't say I
AI.
like yes, AI. Okay, of course. I'm thinking of who's in the league currently, but
Right
yeah,
now.
AI. Okay,
Right now.
yeah, AI. I don't know who I would give that number 5 spot to. Honestly, that's tough. That's really tough. That's definitely a hot seat question. I ain't never been asked that. I don't
Okay.
even I don't even think about that. Who would you put?
For my five, ooh, okay. That is a tough one. Because CP3, he was my favorite point guard growing up, and so was Kyrie.
Right.
But right now, I would say it's a tough one. Who deserves that number five spot? All time. All time. If we're going off of just straight playing, like not longevity, I would say John Wall. I would say
Okay.
John Wall for me personally, because I'm from DC.
Mhm.
And when he came to DC, DC never won a game. He came in and just realized turn up for that time being, for that time period. That's what I'm not saying his whole career, but
Mhm.
when he was there, he was there. I'm a little biased on that. I don't think the world going
Could be.
rock with
I
Doc
mean, I'm
talk
biased to
like
Steph, so
that.
that's fair.
Steph definitely deserves. Steph Mount Rushmore.
Sure.
Steph definitely deserves that top
For
three. But all right, cool. Have you ever had a crush on your friend's sibling or anything
No.
like that?
No, that's never came up.
Last time you partied all night, it's at an all night, just out party.
Last time I partied all night, that was probably the Thursday over last year. The bros, they threw a little Founders
Okay,
Day
cool.
party.
How
I was
old are you?
out pretty late. I'm a Delta, so I was out pretty late.
Okay.
Yeah, that's
Okay,
probably the
cool.
last time. I
So
don't really do
where,
much partying all night. I like to go to bed. I like to be in the bed with my
but you can't really be in bed if you're a Delta. You got community service, and then you got the.
yeah.
It's always something with
Not at
fraternity,
3
so
in the
you can't
morning
really be
though.
in the house being. Yeah, not at 3.
Not at 3. I'm asleep.
Unless you get. Well, I appreciate you for coming on today's show, Joy. Anything you want to say to your fans and supporters out there watching?
Thank y'all. Love y'all. It's honestly, it's really is an honor to just, be able to have this opportunity. And thank you for the opportunity.
Of course, no problem. My pleasure.